Welcome back. So, Democrat hopes get doused as the GOP controls the House. There was no red wave, alas, but we'll settle for an impasse. But will this blow to her megalomania make Pelosi return to Transylvania? Yeah, we're Dr. Seuss in Florida. The GOP has finally clinched control of the House. They have one chamber, while the Dems still have the chamber Pelosi sleeps in while the sun is out. They control the House by a margin slimmer than me in a pair of skinny jeans. Yeah, think of that. But like my stuttering cousin used to say, a win's a win. So like all great questions, like why do fools fall in love, or whatever happened to all of Tucker's bow ties, what's next for a Republican-controlled House? It seems the only thing both parties agree on is war, and that Adam Schiff is probably an alien. So will gridlock ensue? With split control of Congress, it's as inevitable as me having to bail Cat out of jail tonight. But economists agree that no major policy changes are actually a good thing for stocks, but also brace for investigations. Kevin McCarthy, who will be the new speaker, has already discussed plans to investigate the big guy and people in his inner circle, including his son Hunter, who has more shady deals than an awning salesman. An awning salesman. They've already announced an investigation into whether Joe was actively involved in his son's overseas shenanigans. And what of Dracula's bride? Well, Nancy, she announced today she won't seek a leadership post. She said she'll also show her willingness to compromise by bathing in the blood of 15 virgins instead of her usual 20. I wonder what Joe's got to say about this.
Oh, yeah, I'm gonna miss Nancy. She's a good gal. Nobody could rip up a State of the Union like her. But there's not gonna be any investigations. You can't investigate me. I don't remember anything. You know, when I say I don't remember, I'll be telling the truth. I don't even know where I am right now. All I know is I'm in a foreign country and they make me wear jackets like this.
That's right. Tucker, what do you predict will happen with the GOP in control of the House?
I love your stuttering cousin, by the way. A win is a win. Who writes that? It's so good.
I wrote that.
Did you really?
I write the things that make me grimace.
Honestly, if I wrote that, I'd just retire.
I said a win's a win, and I thought, that's like something that my stuttering cousin would say.
Do you actually have one?
No.
Oh.
No, nothing I say is true,
No,
Tucker.
I know that. That's why I like it. You know, they have some internal drama to settle in the Republican Party. So, like, what does the Republican Party stand for? We know what it stands against. Mm-hmm. The current insanity, degradation of the country, so many things. But what is it affirmatively for? That is not a settled question. I think it will be. Certainly when a nominee is chosen, that person will run the Republican Party. But right now, it's kind of a jump ball. There's a lot going on with the speaker's race and Kevin McCarthy, so it's very hard to predict. But I know what the first battle is going to be. Don't know how it's going to wind up. It's going to be over Ukraine funding. Mm-hmm. You know, and now that we know that this crypto exchange, which is actually like the finance arm of the Democratic Party, was in partnership with the government of Ukraine. Like, I don't know. I think it becomes a lot more complicated. I think that becomes a real debate very soon, like very soon.
Mm-hmm. You know, Kat, Tucker said your favorite word, funding. We're going to do a lot of segments on funding. Remember how fun that was on the 5? The government shutdowns? That was great. Nothing better than an A block on funding. But you're a libertarian. You hate funding.
I just like to keep my own funding.
Yes.
I would actually love funding me.
Yeah.
And I don't need you to fund me. Just let me fund myself.
Yeah,
it's great.
Yes. You're totally into funding yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, look, I think that coming out of the gate, being like, hey, we're going to investigate Hunter, I get where that comes from, but most people are like, okay, can we figure out why cheese costs $47?
Yeah.
Can we do something about that? I mean, I went to going to the grocery store, it's like if you just want, it's like walking around getting slapped in the face over and over again. And you see how much things get cost.
I wish that was the
case.
case.
Yeah, blah, 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 you're into that, blah, 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 I'm disgusting, I'm Greg, we get it. Because it's not that, I get why they'd want to do it, but they have to do something else. They have to stand for something rather than just like, okay, people went after Trump, so now we're going to go after this guy, especially when so many people are struggling financially right now.
Tyrus. I disagree. I disagree with Kat. I want a Hunter Biden investigation because there are just so many bells and whistles. And, man, the ratings for this show are going to be amazing.
Okay, the ratings are fine. And, of course, you want because you just want to talk about prostitutes and weird stuff. That's why you want to talk about it. But I feel like sometimes, you know, I always wonder, like, how does wrestling sometimes equate to politics? You know, there's such a different thing. But then it's like, but in wrestling, we know how to build the card. And what build the card means, which the House needs to really pay attention here, children, is you don't have the biggest match first. You build up, okay? So the first thing is, how about dealing with that at the border, with those officers whose lives were changed, were accused of racist whipping people, and that guy, you want to impeach somebody? Get on that. Yeah. Second, please do something about the IRS and ridiculous funding. Those two things, whether you're a Democrat, independent, moderate Republican, whatever, you'll be like, wow, those things are good things. Because if we have not learned anything in these last two elections, is the Republican Party is outnumbered. There are more Democrats than there are Republicans, and we see that. So what do? We have to build bridges, okay? You save Hunter Biden to, I don't know, 6 months before the next election. So when that stuff comes out and he's running again, they'll be like, wow, look at all this dirt. And we look at all the stuff they've did, and they're bringing him to justice. That's how you build bridges, and that's how you win elections. Stop. Hunter's great, but fix the stuff. And please, the men and women on the border who have been treated like criminals, who risk their lives every day, they deserve the attention of the House first.
There you go. All right. So I think what Tyrus is saying, Dana, is the border, IRS, then we get the hookers.
That's when we get them?
That's when we get them.
Can I put it in my calendar?
Yes, it is.
So they got a lot to deal with. They have a lot to deal with in terms of the fact that Biden is going to have remember when Obama said, I got a pen and I got a phone? Yeah. That was after he lost the majority. So what did he start to do? Legislation went down, but regulations went way, way, way up. And so that's one of the reasons you have oversight committees, and they can check into them. Like, where is where's the the Homeland Security Secretary? He needs it. Yep. But the Health and Human Services Secretary is like in the Witness Protection Program. Where's that guy been? And we got a lot to talk about in terms of the origins of COVID. That's another thing that at least somebody could maybe try to have some accountability on that front. On Nancy Pelosi, I think it's really interesting that she wouldn't have just decided today to leave Congress altogether. Instead, she's just quiet quitting.
Right.
Okay, so she's just going to be like, actually, I'm not going to be in leadership anymore. I'm just going to sit in the back.
Yeah.
And then how is the new guy supposed to feel like empowered when she's always going to be looking over his shoulder?
Yeah, she'll be like the ghost of the past, just haunting the Congress.
She'd be like, well, I wouldn't have done it that way.
Exactly.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.